Hey FlossTube, this is Brian. Welcome back. This is my 12th FlossTube video, and it will be my February 2017 update. I plan on sharing with you some of the things that I've done in February, both cross-stitch and a little bit of crochet related, and I will also talk about my plans for March. First of all, I want to thank everybody for all of their likes, comments, and subscribes of my previous videos. I always enjoy receiving your comments, and I would like to respond to some of the comments that I received since my last video. First of all, Gridley's Cottage asked me what program I use to read my digital patterns, and I use a couple of programs. The first program that I use is when I'm working on my iPhone. I use Goodreader. That is the app that I like the best. It's really nice because it syncs with Dropbox. So the patterns that I'm working on, I keep them on Dropbox, and I can sync them there so that I can access them wherever I want to. I also have a Kindle Fire, and I use my Kindle Fire a lot to view my patterns. And on my Kindle Fire, I'm using Acrobat Reader, and Amazon has a lot of their Fire locked down a lot. You can't just install. There are some apps that are available on regular Android phones that are not available on Kindle. But I figured out from a blog post how to install the Google Play Store on my Kindle Fire, and I use the Acrobat Reader that is available in the Play Store. That Acrobat Reader has the ability to sync with Dropbox also. So I use those two apps, and they both work very well for me. I like the way they allow me to highlight and mark parts of the pattern that I have finished. In my last video, I showed a book called Jean Greenhouse's Christmas Special, and I mentioned that there was a pattern in there for a Cinderella topsy-turvy doll. And KL mentioned in the comments that her grandmother knitted her a Cinderella topsy-turvy doll, and she was wondering if it was the same topsy-turvy doll that was in that book. So I've got that book, and I'll show you that topsy-turvy doll, and you can just see. So first of all, this is the Cinderella side. So it's a Cinderella in kind of a peasant dress, and she has patches on. And then when you turn it upside down, you have Cinderella as the princess. And she has a nice blue dress. She has a dance card. She's holding a fan, and she has roses in the border of her dress. So I think this looks really cool. I really am tempted to stitch this one time, to knit this one time. The thing that kind of scares me is those roses, because they look really quite itsy bitsy, and that they'd be kind of a pain to stitch. Okay. So also in my last video, as I was talking about my Corazon Sampler, I mentioned that I had read somewhere that there was a reason why there are missing letters in some of the alphabets. And Patty Smith actually shared a link with me to an article on the Nordic Needle website that talks about this. So now I can cite chapter or verse. That article basically says that the alphabets are based on Latin, and Latin only had 23 letters. It didn't have a W, it didn't have a J, and it either had didn't have a V or a U. I'm not sure which letter it had. But the Old English, when they started using that alphabet, the Latin alphabet, since it didn't have letters that they needed, they just didn't use the W, and they exchanged the I and the J. They made them for, they used them interchangeably, and they also used the U and the V interchangeably. So I'll put a link to that article in the notes below, and you can go read it if you're interested. I want to thank everybody for their interest in, for everybody for sharing Vanna's video with me about making a project roll. I actually follow Vanna pretty closely. Who doesn't? And I saw that video almost immediately after she posted it. I've watched it. I haven't had the opportunity to actually make one yet, or even purchase the fabric and the supplies I need to be able to do it. But I do plan on making a project roll. If you haven't seen Vanna's video, I'll put a link to it below. It's really great. She explains things so clearly and makes it look so easy that I really think that I could do it with my meager sewing skills. Judy Hewlett asked me what program I use to generate my graphs, and I just use Excel. So I keep all of my records in Excel, and I use Excel to generate the graphs. And then each graph that I want to show, I put it on its own sheet so that it can be as big as it can in my computer window. I screenshot it, and then I load the screenshot into a program called Paint.net, which is an image editor, and I crop it down to just the graph, and then I use that cropped image to overlay in my video. Also, while I'm talking about programs, if any of you are looking for a free video editor that's not Windows Live Movie Maker, I found a program called Shotcut. It's open source, it's a video editor, and it has a few more features than Windows Live Movie Maker, and I really like using it. One of the things I like being able to do with it more than anything else is overlay images on top of me talking, so that I don't have to cut and break break my dialogue as I talk. And it has a couple of other options. It's a little bit more intuitive to understand. It does seem to be a little bit buggy. It crashes every once in a while, but that may be because I'm using a laptop that is old and slow. And even though it does crash, it has an autosave option, so when you reload the project that you're working on, it says, oh, I seem to have crashed, and I see there's autosave, and so you can restore the work that you've done without losing anything, which is kind of nice. Once again, thanks everybody for your compliments and for all of your comments. I really enjoy them, and want to thank you for all of the wonderful things that you share in your comments. So the other thing that I did last time, I showed you where I was with my crocheted nativity that I'm starting to do for my wife, and I had a lot of people say that it looked wonderful and that they hope that I continue to share updates. So I'm going to keep you updated on what I'm doing with my nativity, even though it's not cross-stitch related. So I don't really have a lot of progress. I'll admit, crochet's not my favorite, and I don't want it to take away from the amount of time that I cross-stitch. So I'm kind of doing it on a few hours on Saturday when I don't have anything to do. So what I've done is I've crocheted a bunch of heads. So there's heads. And then I started working on Joseph, and I've pretty much got everything for Joseph crocheted. I just need to assemble him. So here's what I have. I have this. This is Joseph's body and head all attached. And one modification that I made from the last one is I put one of those glass stones that they use for flower arranging. I put that in the bottom to give it a little bit of a weight and help it stand up a little bit better. It looks a little bit. So there's Joseph's head, and then I have a whole bunch of things that I've crocheted that I need to put on this, and I've got a whole bunch of ends because I don't know what I'm going to need to use to stitch everything together. So here's the head covering that'll go over his head like this, and then here's one of the arms in a sleeve, so that'll go right here like this. And then I also have his beard that'll go like around here like this. So he's going to look something like that. I still have to, there's a staff that I have to do, And the pattern that I have, it doesn't have instructions for making any shepherds. But I think I need shepherds. What's a nativity if you don't have shepherds? So I'm planning on crocheting a couple of shepherds. I'll use the pattern for Joseph, only I'll use more drab colors like brown and light brown, I think, and I'll have a couple of shepherds. So that's where that is. Like I say, crochet is not my favorite, and those arms are really, really fiddly to work with until you get a few rounds done. They're really demoralizing for me to work on. So, but I'm sure that I'll get that all assembled and be able to show you an assembled one and show you what else that I've been able to do next month. The other thing is I mentioned that I had a request to show some of my stash, and I had a lot of people say that they really wanted to see some of my patterns that I have. And so I said I didn't want to bore you, and that's because I have enough patterns that I could spend hours and hours just showing you patterns. And I don't want to do that. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to share with you a few of my patterns every time, and we'll just work through stuff. So this is my For the Love of Cross Stitch collection. See, this is just an example. I have this just for one magazine. And so I'm just going to show you a few of these and then pick up where I left off. And another thing is, as I've been going through these trying to decide what to show you, I've seen stuff that's like, why did I even save that? There's no way that I'll be able to do that. Some of these I can't show you because the pattern's on the same page as the picture. But I'll show you a couple of things, a few patterns that I like. And there seems to be a time like the early to mid 90s to the late 90s where there's a lot of stuff that I really like in these magazines. So I'm going to be showing you a lot of stuff from there. This is from the November 1990 For the Love of Cross Stitch. I kind of like that Santa. And I guess there's also instructions on how to make a stuffed figure. It's Santa on the rooftop. I really like, there's a lot of Christmas stuff that I like. This is from the July 1991 issue of For the Love of Cross Stitch. I think the designer is Gail Busey. That's kind of a folk art type thing. It says, if all our troubles were hung on a line, you'd take yours and I'd take mine. So it has quilts and sunbonnets and there's another designer named Dee Morgan that was published in For the Love of Cross Stitch. I think she was a painter and they adapted her stuff for cross stitch. And I really like her stuff. This is an example of one. This is called The Keeper of the Lighthouse. And it's a picture of a lighthouse. I really like lighthouses. And all of her designs, they have like a simple picture like this. And then they have text. And this text says, guiding friendly strangers, the keeper of the lighthouse is surely friends with God. I really like her designs are really nostalgic, very simple and very nice. I really like that one. This is something that my wife likes this style. This is from the July 1991 issue of For the Love of Cross Stitch. Lorraine Birmingham is the designer. And there's a series of 3 angels. This one is love. And this one is peace. If my wife saw these, she'd tell me I had to stitch them. This one is joy. So, here's another Christmas one I like. This is from the November 1991 issue. It's called He Went Straight Back to His Work. It's Santa hanging stockings. And I'm going to try to show you this one, even though this is another one by D. Morgan. And it's from the January 1992 issue. And it's 2 pictures. So they look like this. And you stitch them, and you could hang them next to each other, and they kind of go together. And the text, I really like the text. It says, "Let's winter spend the afternoon painting dreams across the moon." So that's kind of nostalgic and very, very wintry. You know, it reminds me of winters when I was a kid. Here's another one by D. Morgan. And this one I've wanted to stitch for a long time. I just haven't done it. It's called Every Star. I just love this winter scene, and it says, "He knows every star and calls each one by name." So here's another Woodland Santa. This is from the June 1993 issue of For the Love of Cross Stitch. Here's some heart-shaped Christmas ornaments. These are from the January 1994 issue. Let's see. This is a design by Deborah Lambian. She does these alphabet. Has done several alphabets like this. This says "Kitchen, Sweet Kitchen," and has a letter with something kitchen related for each letter. These are from the July 1994 issue. I really like those roses. They look really realistic to me. This is from the January 1995 issue. It's called Santa's Enchanted Flight. This is a design by Susan Brack, and the adaptation was done by Donna Vermillion-Giampa. I actually started this a couple years ago, and I have had a hard time finding the right shade of blue for this. And I tried once and started it, and it turned out to be too dark. And so I think I finally found the shade of blue fabric that I want to stitch that on, but I haven't started it yet. And I think I'll finish with this one. This is a piece that my mom stitched, and she has hanging in her bathroom. It's called Saturday Night Bath, and it's from the September 1995 issue. I really like this bear. I like how he looks really perturbed that he needs to be taking a bath. So I really like this one. So there's some of my patterns from For the Love of Cross Stitch. I'll continue to share more with you as time goes by. So there's something else you can look forward to if you're interested in that kind of thing. Okay, so now I think it's time to share with you my February progress. February was a good month for me, stitching wise. It felt short. Why does February feel short? It's only 2 or 3 days shorter than the rest of the months, but it felt really short to me. But I was able to stitch quite a bit. So I'll show you my graphs. This first graph, of course, is the trend. You'll see that the number of days that I stitched dropped. Part of that is because February is short, and another part is I had 3 days when I didn't stitch, and you'll see that in a minute. But the number of stitches that I put in remained about constant, so I guess I did accomplish quite a bit. Here's the number of days that I stitched in February for each project. You'll see, yeah, 3 days that I wasn't able to stitch. I actually had several nights this month where I was busy and just didn't have time to stitch. But other than that, things look pretty good. You'll see that I got, my goal is 6 days per project, and 12 days for Autumn Magic, and you'll see I got pretty close to that. Here's the number of stitches that I put in for each project for the month. You'll see Corazon Sampler wins. That's because there's so much negative space in it. Also, Autumn Magic, it actually did pretty good compared to Verandas of South Battery, and part of the reasons why Verandas of South Battery is low is because it got shortchanged because of the short month. So let's look at what I was able to do. So the first thing that I stitched was Corazon Sampler, and of course this is a design by CloRaMi Designs. It's a French alphabet type sampler, and I am stitching it on 36 count Edinburgh linen. The color is antique white. The color I'm using is DMC 815. That's the color that she used, that she recommends in the design, and I really like that color. It's nice. It's a nice deep red. So I'll show you a picture of where it was the last time you saw it. And I only stitched on, this was the piece that I was working on the last time I made a video. So, and I stitched on this a couple of days after I made my video. So, so there's not really a lot of change from the last time you saw it. But I'll show you anyway just for completeness. So here it is. So I think the last time I made a video, I'd finished this heart. I don't remember if I'd finished this alphabet yet or not. But I do know that since the last video, I stitched these 4 letters. I'll give you a little bit of a close look at them. I really like those letters. I really like those big letters with the floral garlands. So I continue to be happy with the way this one is turning out. The next time that I stitch, I'm going to come over here and do this alphabet and fill in over on this side so I don't have this hole. I hope to get so that I'm even all the way across. That'd be really great if I could do that. The next piece that I worked on was Autumn Magic. This is Autumn Magic. It's a house in an autumn setting. It's a painting by Randal Spangler that's been adapted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I really like this. I like the painting. I like the picture a lot. I'm stitching it on 25 count antique white Lugana, and I'm stitching it 1/1, and I'll put in a picture of what it looked like the last time you saw it. So the last time you saw it, I had come pretty close to finishing a page. And my goal this month was to at least finish 1 page and start finishing the page that was just below it. So here's what this looks like now. And you'll see I had 2 page finishes. So I'll get this a little bit closer. So I finished this page up here, and then I finished this down here. And I am so relieved to have these 2 page finishes, because now it's constant all the way down, and everything makes sense. I think it looks really good now that everything's connected. This page up here didn't take very long to stitch. This down here, there's a lot of confetti and stuff in here, and that took me a long time to stitch. In fact, I feel like I actually slowed down a little bit because of that. And then I've also started working on this page, so I got 1 diagonal done and started another one. This page goes about like this. So when I get this done, I will have this post pretty much completed all the way up here. So that's my goal, is to do another page. I don't think I'll be able to finish another page this month, based on how fast I've been able to stitch in the past. Probably about half a page. I'll probably hit the halfway mark, and I'll be glad if I can do that. So I could do this with all of my projects, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to share with you some of my graphs for Autumn Magic, just to show you kind of what's been going on. I think there's some interesting information in here. So this is a graph that shows my percent complete. You'll see I'm getting close to 10% complete, which is
a little bit discouraging. I mean, that's an indication of how big this project is. I've been working on it for a couple of years, and I'm not even 10% complete. This graph shows the total days that I've stitched, and this is only since I've started keeping track. So I'm getting close to 80 days. There was a few weeks that I didn't keep track on that I don't have. So this is an interesting chart. This is my current pace calculation, and the orange line is my average, and the blue line is a 100-day rolling average. So what you can see from this, the 100-day rolling average will tell you whether or not you're speeding up or slowing down as compared to the average. And you'll see that because I've started working on this 2 weeks a month, that my 100-day rolling average is starting to increase quite a bit. So I know that I'm going faster. This chart is the number of days that I have that I'm predicted to stitch. Once again, the orange line is based on my average pace. The blue line is based on my 100-day rolling average, and the gray line is how long it would take me to stitch if I were to stitch 1 block per day. And you'll see that my 100-day rolling average is, if I stitched one block per day, it'd be about the same as what I'm stitching. I've been stitching for the last couple months. I think that since I've only been spending more time on this project for 2 months, so when I get 3 months in, then I think this will be a little bit more accurate, and I'm hoping that my 100-day rolling average will drop below the 1-day mark. This is a prediction of when I will complete, and you'll see based on my 100-day rolling average and 1 block per day, I think that's sometime in 2021. I'm hoping to bring that down, so we'll see what happens. And here's the really exciting one. I'm tracking the number of page completions that I have, and you'll see I have 2 page completions, and so that looks really great too. So I could do that with every project, but I think that's a bit too much. The reason why I decided to show you that with Autumn Magic is because it's so big, and I don't think I'll do that every month, but it's maybe just every once in a while to kind of as a kind of an indication of how things are going. The next piece that I worked on was And a Forest Grew. This is a design by Rosewood Manor. There are a lot of people working on this. A lot of floss tubers working on this, and it's really a fun piece to stitch. I love it. I'm stitching it on 32 count antique white Lugana, so I'll insert a picture of what it looked like the last time that you saw it. And this is what it looks like now. I'm trying to get it a little bit straightened up. So this is what it looks like now. So basically what I stitched this last month is I stitched this page here. So from about here over, the next page boundary is right in here. And so I'm well into the 3rd page on the top, and the 3rd page is mostly the big tree. So the next time I stitch this, I'm going to fill in here, and then I think I'm going to start working on the big tree. I think this is my favorite page, and just because there's so many trees that I like. I really like this pine tree. That one was really fun to stitch. I like this one. This willow. I've been looking forward to stitching this willow since I started the piece. I don't know why, but I just love that willow, and it was really fun to do. So yeah. So I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but a lot of the designers seem to be using the same software to create their charts. And I've been working on Autumn Magic so long that I'm memorizing symbols. I don't have to look up the key in the chart anymore. I know what number it is. and it's gotten so bad that I can look at the grid and I can't see the design, but I can see colors. I can see, oh, this is going to be red in here, and this is going to be green, and it's really strange. So after I worked on Autumn Magic for a while, I pulled out And a Forest Grew, and they use the same symbols that are used in Autumn Magic. And so I started looking at the chart on And a Forest Grew, and I'm like, well, that color doesn't look right. And I have to go back and look up the color in the chart. So my brain is getting kind of mixed up between all the charts that use the same symbols with different color keys. I don't know if that happens to anybody else, but it's kind of strange. Okay, the last piece I worked on is Verandas of South Battery. This is a street scene in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. I'm stitching it on 32 count Platinum Evenweave. And I'll show you a picture of what this looked like the last time you saw it. And I have been working on this not only since I felt a little bit shortchanged with it in February, I've continued to work on it in March. And I have a couple more days that I need to work on it before I rotate. So it's still in my frame, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like from a distance. And basically, what I have done is I've finished pretty much all of the yellow house, and I've got quite a bit of this last house done. Here's a milestone. I've hit the bottom corner. This is the bottom corner of the design. So this is going to kind of zigzag a little bit, and then there's going to be trees to stitch here. I was hoping that I'd be able to finish all the cross stitching this month, but that's not going to happen. This turned out to be a bigger area to stitch than I thought it was, just looking at it. But I am pretty sure that next month I'll have all the cross stitching finished, and I think I'll have time to actually backstitch as well. So this is looking really good. It's exciting to get close to having a finish with this. I've been working on this for about a year on and off now, since I picked it back up again, and I'm kind of starting to get a little bit burned out on it. So I'll be glad to have it finished. So a little bit about my plans for March. And first of all, Vanna showed a chart in her last video that when I saw it, I just had to have it. So I pre-ordered it, and it arrived a little bit sooner than I expected it to. This is Let Freedom Ring. Vanna said she'd never stitched that, and I saw it and I said, I will stitch this. I don't know, there's so much about this that I love. I love Independence Hall. I love the flowers on the side. You've got the Liberty Bell up here, a flag, soldiers, people. I think you people are having a bad influence on me, because 2 years ago I would have said I'm not really into primitive stuff. I don't really like it, but there's a few things that are really starting to catch my attention, and this is one of them. So ever since I've had this, it's been yelling, start me, start me, start me. Everything else you're working on is stupid. You want to start me, start me, start me. It's been really, really yelling at me. And I don't have all the materials to be able to start it, so I haven't, but I think I'm going to have to figure out how to start that. I'm debating about starting it instead of picking up something else, starting it after I finish Verandas, or I'm trying to think of something else to do. I'm trying to figure out how to fit it into my rotation, but we'll see what happens. So for March, but for right now, for March, I'm planning on just working through my rotation the same way. I've kind of switched it a little bit because I continued to work on Verandas of South Battery. So I'm going to finish working on Verandas of South Battery for a couple of days. Then I'll pick up Corazon Sampler. As I said, I'm excited to be able to get the other side of the empty space over on the other side done. And then after that, I'll work on Autumn Magic, hoping to get as much of the next page that I'm working on done as possible. And then I'll finish up the month with and a 4 screw. I'm really happy with the way that I adjusted my rotation of 6 days with 12 days on Automagic. That seems to be working out really well, and it will continue. It will be better this month because I'll actually have 31 days. I'll actually have an extra day at the end that I'll have to stitch on and a 4 screw, which will be nice. The last video, when I showed my slideshow, I had several people asking me to continue to do that. So I'm going to close with an enhanced slideshow. This goes back into January a little bit so that you can see my progress on Corazon Sampler through the entire piece time that I had worked on it through the rotation. I hope you enjoy it. Once again, I want to thank you for your time that you shared with me. Thank you for all of your likes, comments. If you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe. If you want to follow my daily progress on Instagram, you can do that. I'm at BlitzStitch on Instagram, and you can find me there. Once again, thank you so much for watching me. I hope that you have a great month, and we'll close with my slideshow.